this, you guys. And now you have to consent to being recorded. This is like the new update on yeah, it's very creepy and weird. I don't know. So I'm gonna go ahead and start going live. So at this point, perhaps anything we say might be recorded because it takes it a minute, but I'll let you know as soon as we're live. I just leave it on my phone here and we'll find out.
It's warm finally.
John's warming up. He's getting warm.
Oh, nice and warm.
Okay. I wish it was so much quicker to do this than it is. It takes forever sometimes. Elizabeth is like a talk show professional at this point. So if you guys have any questions, just ask her.
Talk shows?
Her and Brenna.
Oh yeah.
We're doing it. We're doing a one today, actually.
Fantastic.
When are you guys doing it?
2:30 Pacific time, so 5:30 for your time. 11 billion 30 for Krish's time. I'm bad with the how many hours are you ahead of Pacific time? Do you know? I could check on that.
I think Pacific time exactly 12 hours.
Okay.
We were doing a workshop yesterday with Will Hines, and one of my friends, Gokul, was in it. And Will Hines kept saying, "It's 2 a.m. You doing okay, Gokul? You doing okay, Gokul?"
So what time? So what time is it there at Pacific time now?
Oh, it is now 6:01 a.m.
Okay, here's 7:30.
Okay.
So
13 and a half.
11 and a half hours, I think.
Yeah,
7:30 a.m.
hours.
7:30 p.m. Yeah.
7:30 p.m.
Yeah, this is actually a nice time for Krish versus like 2 o'clock in the morning. That's why I was like, let me make him be able to function for this. So,
oh, it's such an early call time. I thought of Krish and I thought of, do you guys know Javier and like Siddharth, all the guys that are over there. And then Laura too, she will get up for crazy hours. So I'm like, you know what? This is nothing. I'm not having to sleep and then wake up because a lot of those guys do that. So I'm just going to shut up and take my early call time. It's not a big deal.
well, guys, we are live. Hello, world. We're just talking about the different times people do improv here. So we'll start with when we do some introductions of what time it is. How about that? It's my favorite question if anyone does improv with me. But welcome to the fourth edition of the Global Gap. Today we have some actors with you as well as some improvisers. So people who use improv for scripted as well as unscripted work. So I thought it would be really cool to kind of see how their worlds have shown up. So I'm gonna spotlight people because it makes me happy to do that. Introduce yourselves. Tell us who you are, where you are, and what time of day it is.
What's up, guys? I'm John Bonds. I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina, and it's only 9:03 a.m. It's easy.
Only 9:03 a.m. It's way past my bedtime. All right, and next.
Hi all, my name is Krish Aran and I'm joining this meeting from India, and it's fortunately 7:30 p.m. because usually it is 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. at night when I actually attend the meetings. So I'm happy.
All right, fantastic. So we flipped the script and now we have somebody super early. There you go.
I'm Elizabeth Softly. I'm from Los Angeles, California, and it is 6:03 a.m.
6:03 a.m. Awesome. And I'm sure you guys know who I am. My name's Carla. I am also in Charlotte, North Carolina. And I'm in John's garage with him. No, I'm just kidding. It is 9:04 a.m. and we are here to chat about some improv. So just a little history of these folks. They all met through a class together. So they know each other pretty well because things get intimate in class. That sounds really dirty. I'm sorry. To everyone who's married, that's not that kind of thing, which I think everyone's married. All right, fantastic. So my first question for each of you guys is going to be, just tell us a little bit about you, how you got into performing in general. So the way I like to do it, if you just want to raise your hand and start talking, that sounds great. There's no, it's all pretty chill. How you got into performing, acting, improv, any of it, whatever you want to tell us, your origin story. Who wants to go first?
Ladies first.
I can go. You look like you were ready though, so I don't.
Don's always ready.
I'm always ready. You stay ready. You don't have to spend time getting ready.
Born ready.
Born ready, but no, Elizabeth.
Okay. I don't know if it's that interesting. I've always kind of had a draw for performing since I was a little kid, and I've been performing since I was young in various things, you know, whether it's music or acting or whatever. But I always have this internal struggle of what I feel called to do and what I want to do, which is everything in the arts versus you should do something normal and responsible and you're being ridiculous. So that's been a struggle for a long time. And I've recently started to tell that other voice to shut up and delve into what I feel called to do. So I think only recently have I given over to, as Brenna has said, the siren's call and fully dove into it. There we go. Use the right tense of that word. Yeah. So that's my story.
Fantastic. Awesome. Who would like to go next?
Oh,
All right, John.
So I was the star of my 5th grade play. I played Mr. Rogers. I was delivering mail in a Christmas play. It was a lot of fun, and that was the first time I was ever on stage, and I loved it. And I tried to do it in middle school, and it just never caught back on with me. But I loved performing. I was in band from 6th grade till 12th grade, doing marching band as well. And I got my bachelor's in early childhood education because my mom was a teacher. And I found myself performing in front of the kids. So like I would do like these history lessons and dress up as these characters and have a reader's theater and have the kids dress up as these characters. But then I would have to go home and grade all these papers. And I was like, this is awful. So I was working in a daycare at the time, and someone came in to pick up their little girl, and she told me about she was on the set of Barbershop 3 and was showing me these pictures and showed me where I could go to school to get some training. So I took my first class at the actor scene in Atlanta, Georgia, and it was just a fantastic experience. I started doing improv for the first time, and I was like, yep, this is what I need to do. So that was my last year teaching, and I dove headfirst into acting. My wife and I moved to Charlotte last year, and I came up to TAS and AOS acting out, and Carla and Alicia and Talent Inc. Man, it's just been so much fun. It's just been so much fun. Charlotte is such a great place for creatives. Like I love what we found here. Atlanta's great, but like it's just such a big pond. I love that we've come here and kind of settled and found my niche.
So Acting Out Studio is where I also teach. And fun fact, John, the young girl who played the child in Barbershop 3 is an Acting Out Studio student. Yeah, small world. Krish, how about you?
Hi. I decided to become an actor or join this acting field for as long as I can remember, because I've been doing theater plays since I was in my 1st grade, and after a couple of years doing theater plays for my school, I moved on to sports, and I took a huge break from acting. And when I came back to college, because everyone in South India wants to be an engineer, and my parents wanted me to be an engineer, so I studied engineering. And in the college, I was the college cultural secretary, and I was organizing the symposiums and other cultural events for my college. After completing the college, I thought, okay, I worked in a IT company for 6 months, and it didn't work well. I thought, what am I doing here? I'm not supposed to be programming. That's not what my purpose has supposed to be. So I quit my job and I joined Loyola in film acting. And for 1 year, I did this acting course with direction. And again, due to my financial status, I have to go and work in a company again. So I worked for State Farm Insurance. Probably you know that. Worked for State Farm Insurance. And I worked in a BPO call center, taking calls and dialing advising US citizens on which college course to take. So like we used to take like 1,000 calls a day. It keeps continuously ringing. Then I thought, okay, this is also not working for me. I have to get into acting. So I joined one director called Anita Udip, and I worked as an assistant director for her for a couple of movies, and then I started making short films. And what else did I do? And I did some theater plays. I joined Little Theater Company, and we did some pantomimes and we did some theater plays. Then I acted in a movie. It's called Pichangai. It got released in Tamil Nadu, and I starred in a lead in a web series called Ganja, and it's also in an online streaming platform. And since then, I've been working on my own script, and I'm directing my pilot film, and I'm approaching producers, and I've written 2-3 scripts and approaching Netflix and other companies right now. That is my current situation right now.
Wow, very exciting. So after this call, guys, if you want to drop any of those links into the chat so people can see where your stuff is and things that you're working on, feel free, because this is a chance for you guys to shine. So very cool. Well, what I love so far is the commonality of like everyone wanting to do this from a very young age. I too was the same person. In my 5th grade play, I played Puck in Midsummer Night's Dream, and have been obsessed with Shakespeare since then, although I'm horrible at it, just obsessed with it, but horrible at it. So good. It's really cool though that like the acting bug kind of gets people, right? It's in your soul. And I know that's like at least how I feel. Performing is the best drug of all. That's what I always tell people. And it's legal. Yeah, so that's always good. So let me ask you guys this. What has acting and improv taught you in life? How has it changed you? And what has it taught you in life?
For me, I'm kind of an anxious guy. If there is an interview tomorrow, I get really anxious. I prepare everything on what to say, if this questions, and I always take notes even before attending the interview. I want to be ready, and I always run these situations in my head, and I want to be prepared. But what this amazing thing this improv has done to me is because it reduced my anxiety a lot. I thought, okay, the previous day, these are the things I have to have in mind. And let's improv on whatever things that's happening. Even huge production meetings that mean a lot to me. Usually I would have been very, very anxious and had a few cups of coffee before going there. I actually nailed it only because I was improvising on the spot. And it even surprised me that I was able to do that.
Good. Awesome. Cool. Who else?
Oh, you want to go? Me? You? Me?
No, you got-
Okay. So improv, I did improv in like high school drama, and it was fun, and I got a lot of laughs, but it was probably really not good improv, just going for cheap laughs. So as an adult, when I got actually seriously into it, it was very reluctantly, because I had this unfair, I don't know where I got this view of improv, but I just couldn't shake the idea that it was like a peppy church youth group leader kind of vibe. And that's so not my vibe. So I'm like, how in the hell am I gonna do this? And I originally attached to it as like an extension of stand-up comedy to try and like short my stage presence. And I want to be able to handle each heckler positively. I don't want to be a dick in response to their dickishness. So I figured if I spend a lot of time in a positive headspace improvising, I'm not going to go negative when something shocks my system, like a drunken person going, So when I started, like I said, it was super reluctant, and I was like, I don't want to do this, but I kept doing it, and I was super uncomfortable with it. So I knew that that was exactly where I needed to be, and I kept on and kept on, and it had really, really surprising positive ripple effects throughout like my entire life, from everything to kind of changing how I interact with people, all the way to, I have 4 boys and I'm exhausted most of the time. And when it came to like, mom, play with me, I'm like, okay, I'm so tired. And improv really, really reignited the flame of like diving into their imaginary world. And I can't thank improv enough for the extra bit of gas it put in my tank so that I could show up even better for my kids. So that beyond all the artistic things that it helped improve, that was the most unexpected and the one I'm the most grateful for.
First of all, had no idea you did stand up. We have to talk about that. And second of all, 2 of her boys are taking some improv classes. So I'm so excited about that. Yeah. Cool. John, how about you?
So On the outside, I'm an adult, but on the inside, I'm like 11 and a half, 12 years old. Actually, probably had a birthday this year and turned 13. But like, I'm a big kid. So like the world of imagination, I live there, and it's fantastic. I play there. It's my playground. I love it. And I think improv, the more I've done it, has taught me, and especially the different forms, has taught me to listen and slow down, because so often I'm caught up inside of my own little world, and I'm so frustrated that even in real life, people can't see what I'm talking about in my own little world. But if I take the time to stop and listen to to what you're to what you're giving me in response to what I gave you, we can build something. Like, we can build our own little world together. Like, it doesn't have to just be my little, it can be our little world. And I feel like it's so applicable in life. Like, if you listen to what I've given you in response to it, like we were responding, we're listening to reply, not just to talk. I feel like it's a great life skill, and that's what I've learned. Learn listening, trust your scene partner, because I had a lot of problems with trust as well. Trust that somebody got your back. You know, we're in this together. You don't always have to go with something by yourself. Patience, young Padawan, patience.
Yeah. I think I get that reference, but I don't watch Star Wars movies, right? Isn't it Star Wars?
Or in Star Wars, yeah.
Look at that. My husband would be so proud because he drags them to me every once in a while. So we have a couple comments. Look, people are watching. Always makes me excited. So the first, Jess out of the UK says, oh, where it went away. Yes, John, slowing down is so important. And I work with John in several ways. That sounds weird, but his mind does go at like the speed of light. I'm like, whoo, how did he get there? Siddharth from India was like, wow, go Krish. So people are excited about stuff. Love what John is saying about slowing down and listening. Oh, look at that. That's from Steve here in Charlotte. So we also have a couple questions, so we'll go with their questions and I'll get back to mine. So Siddharth asks, what's the feeling of doing scripted acting versus improv? And is it liberating or more challenging? Ooh, it's like a three-part question. Lots of answers, thoughts. Who would like to share?
I think it's both. It has elements of scripted work is there, you know, I don't have to think of what I'm going to say next. So that part of my brain isn't activated, but the part of my brain is activated of like, am I doing this character justice? Am I doing this piece of, you know, cinema or a play or whatever? Am I doing that justice? So that, you know, it's different parts of your brain activated. So I think it depends on which part is harder for you to lean on, is going to determine which method you find easier or more challenging. I think it's a give and take in both.
Personally, I mean, I see scripted work and unscripted work and improv. They're almost very similar. So acting to me is happening. Even though there's a script on the page, like there's a story that's already being told, but in that character, it's happening to that character in the moment. Similarly to improv, it's happening in the moment. So in a script, you know where the story is going, you know where the flow is going, you've already taken your notes, you know where the beats are, and you know where you need to take those breaths. But for the same time, for the character, this is the first time it's happening for the character. But as the actor, you're prepared for it. In improv, conversely, everything is just right there, and you're taking that moment to react to what your scene partner is giving you. And you know, you want an authentic reaction, but oftentimes in improv, there's a short form game or a long form game or a werewolf you have to find. And, you know, that sometimes takes away from, you know, my mother just left the kids at the train station. So, you know, they both have their pros and cons. I love bringing a character to life though, from scripted work. It's just so much fun.
Yeah, it's hard to react about your mom leaving the kids at the train station when your response has to be like monosyllabic responses or only respond in movie titles. You're like, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Krish, how about you?
So the one difference I felt between improv and scripted work is, in scripted, we always know what we are going to say, and we are only focusing on how we are going to say it. Can I say it this way? Can I say it this way? But what stays the same? But when it comes to improv, we always have to think about what I'm going to say, and if you're playing a character, we also have to think about how I'm going to say it. So improv has, a larger, if you put a Venn diagram, it's a larger circle, and acting is a subset of improv. That's what I would say, because we already know what we're going to say. And I think after finishing a scene, every actor feels this way when we do a scene and we see a tape and we feel like, okay, I could have done this, I could have done that, I could have done that. I think that problem in improv is multiplied like 100 times, because in screen work we can practice it, run it in our head, and choose the best version and deliver it in front of the screen. But when it comes to improv, we do it and we're like, why did I do that? If we actually watch it after doing it, we'll be like 100% more thinking about other different ways that we could have taken.
I took a tip from Joan Rivers, and she would never watch her stuff after it was on TV, like never watch it. And I'll watch the scripted stuff because I want to make sure I do better the next time. But the improv, I don't watch it again, because I will wake up at 2 a.m. and be like, why didn't you say Cleveland?
So Elizabeth Siddharth is very excited about this responded movie titles game. Siddharth, that is something that we had to do on Friday night during the Extreme Improv show that Elizabeth and I did together. I'll put the link in if you want to watch. It wasn't us, thank gosh. It was Laura from England who had to respond in movie titles. And I was like, oh, my brain is broken. That's crazy. So good. We have a couple other questions, sort of kind of like polar opposite questions, I think. So the first one is, I was there and then it moved. Does acting and improv help each other? And if so, how? So how does acting help improv, and how does improv help acting?
Yeah, well, acting for sure helps you. Acting is reacting, right? And improv is all reacting to what your partner says. So when you learn how to react to something and show that in your body and your voice and all that, it really helps liven up and enrich in the improv characters. What was the second part? How does improv help acting?
Yeah.
I think really, I don't know if I'm getting too deep into class stuff and we'll lose the audience, but
get deep.
When we were working on our monologues and you had us improv as that character, that they were so linked, and it really did help, like being able to think quickly from a point of view of a character really helps get deeper into that scripted character.
Yeah,
awesome.
That's something that I wanted to add, because when it comes to scripted work, we may do some character work, how this could be, and we try and behave like that character, like we with our body language, the dialogues we are saying. But when we did some improv with acting, one more step that added to that, what we started thinking like the character. That was really good, because if at all we are playing a cop, we need to stand stiff and then talk firm. This is the normal things that we have in mind. But that character would be going through a lot of stuff in relation to his wife or father, and 10 years ago, 5 years before. So when we start thinking like the character, it helps really well for you to settle in that role and play.
And I was going to say, in conjunction with Elizabeth and Krish, that's great analysis. Like, it's like two sides of a coin, and you want to be a strong coin. Anyway, yeah, you want to be, it's two sides of the same coin. Like, it's preparation. It helps you think as that character, and you've already done your preparation in scripted work, and improv, you're reacting. And now, like Elizabeth was saying in the improv for actors class, you're thinking as the character, you're reacting as the character, you're in this character's world. And I think that they both complement each other really well.
And just to kind of give a little bit more information sort of about what they're talking with they all took an improv for actors class with me. Aren't I lucky? We work on a monologue, and when you take a monologue, it's a standalone piece, right? So oftentimes you may know the backstory or you may know the full script, and sometimes you don't. And so what we do is we take that particular piece and we start with them just delivering it as they would, and then we spend some time in their backstory, in their world, creating situations that heighten emotion and take you to a place that really gets you prepared, I think, to deliver the monologue. And then kind of asking ourselves after the fact, how do we as actors and improvisers in the moment put ourselves in those kind of places so that we can emotionally deliver the performances that we deliver. And sometimes I'm really mean and I'm making it uncomfortable for people. John's like, just a little bit. But I think that's what we need as actors, is to really feel it and to really sit in it and to really like live in it. And I love, as an improviser, trying to figure out how to do that in like seconds, right? Like, as in a scripted piece, we get to spend a lot of time like preparing and getting ourselves ready, and maybe we go in the corner with our headphones and whatever it takes to get ready for that self tape or that performance. But as improvisers, we get like 5 seconds, right? So how do we get to that? And dramatic improv is like my new obsession. So yeah, that's just me. So I like the ability to combine both of those. So cool. So we have some more questions. As actors, what would you like improvisers to do more of? Ooh.
Good question. As actors, what would I like improvisers to do more
This is
of?
a hard question because I don't want to feel like I'm telling anybody what to do or like disparaging their current approach.
Maybe something you'd like to see more of, right? Maybe that's the way to put it, versus do more of, right?
I like
Go, John.
I would say, add more emotion. When I felt like when I did some. So when it comes to acting, there is lots of emotion involved. But if you try to bring that emotion into improv, I think that adds a different flavor to improvising.
I was gonna say, whenever I thought about improv before I started my acting journey, I thought about whose line is it anyway, and like it was always funny. But like you just said, dramatic improv is a real thing. So like, don't always go into improv looking for a laugh. Like sometimes just react to what your scene partner is giving you. If the mom just left the kids at the train, that's not a funny situation, or it could be. Like you have to like read the read the room. But like it doesn't always have to be a laugh. Which is cool. It's cool. That's cool.
I would agree. Yeah. More emotion, and it doesn't always have to be a laugh. I think in music, I'm a bass player, so I'm always stuck in the background I'm holding it down, and in improv, I end up as that same vibe with the character. I'm always kind of like the serious one holding out that bass reality so that, the other improvisers can kind of go into the ethers and do their thing. Yeah, it would be nice if occasionally some people would, maybe join me down here. So I'm not the only one.
Elizabeth Jess says, tell us what to do, Elizabeth. Just tell us what to do. No, I think all these are really great points. And one of the things I've noticed about online improv, and we can talk about that for a few minutes because we all met online, except John. Well, you guys all met online, is that I think it sort of changed the face of improv a little bit, right? Because we're not sitting in front of an audience. We're not waiting for that instant audience reaction, that pandering to an audience, which I am so guilty of. We just have to kind of go with gut and instinct and trust, and we have to listen better and we have to react more. And so it seems like there's been an evolution through online improv of more realistic improv, more grounded scenes, more dramatic scenes. Anybody want to talk to that at all?
Man. I was just thinking.
Okay.
Yeah, I can.
Oh, go ahead.
We'll get Chris first and then Elizabeth.
What I felt was the missing, I wouldn't say missing, the interesting thing about doing improv on screen is that you're always facing front. Because that is the one scene that we did in the last live show, that John and I was supposed to be driving a car. We are supposed to see this way, but but we are still looking in the front. I have to look at John, what he's doing. So that's one sort of a limitation. And there are also advantages. Like you all know, we don't have to travel. We don't have to travel and go and meet other people on there, and we just have to wake up, open, and then start going to start improvising right away.
Or stay awake in Krish's place most of the time. Krish, what time was our acting class in your world? Like 2 a.m. or something like that?
2 a.m. and it starts at 1:30 a.m. Sometimes it goes up to 3 a.m. But I'm fine with it.
And he stayed awake almost every single time. It was fantastic. So cool. Who else? Who else has got something?
Okay, what was the question again?
How has online improv evolved, and what changes have you seen, and what's working, what's not working? Just anything.
I think I've seen like pushing the boundaries on either side. Like I think there's a lot of serious people who've gotten more kind of serious about it. And then I've seen some people go really hard, like into left field. That would be that way. With like the zany, real zany, like prop comedy type stuff. And I guess that has its place. Yeah, a lot of boundary pushing in every direction. Some growth, good. I'm sure all growth is, good. Well, maybe not. If you grow a tumor, that's not good. So maybe some of it is like a tumorous growth, and then other things are like really good, evolution type growth.
Grow a tumor. Oh my gosh.
Okay. Online improv has been great for me. Like I only really started doing shows last year. So I've done more shows this year online than I've ever done in person rather. And like the rules are so different. I like it. Like, so online I can go off screen really quick and come right back, or like get really close.
Okay.
And, yeah, and it's interesting. I think prop comedy has a place, and I think like if done correctly,
John's gonna bring his shovel out right now. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I knew
it
it.
can be powerful.
That shovel is John's frequent co-star, just so you know.
But like I wouldn't just bring a shovel on stage, because that would be weird.
Right, it would be object work, right? So
Yeah.
so it would be an object work shovel, and then you're like, is that a gun or is that a shovel? What is that?
Exactly. And I could do whatever, but like here, I could just bring a shovel in, and I think it has its merits. I miss being on a stage in front of people, but I also like doing ridiculous, wacky stuff.
That's what it is. Timed right. If it fits with the beats and if it makes sense, then I'm about it. Yeah. If you showed up with a shovel for no reason, which is what the prop comic I was thinking about, it's like, what?
Why is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta read the room.
Yeah, and
Right.
I think with online improv, it's become like acting for the camera every time you're on screen or in a show or in a class, which is very, very different, because when we were improvising on stage or acting on stage, you don't think about the frame. Is this a medium shot? Is this a wide shot? Is this a well, obviously it's never going to be a 2-person shot because we're in Zoom. But yeah, so you start thinking about that and how your facial expressions are reading, the subtleties to it, right?
Yeah.
I know I have a very expressive face. It's like probably the worst thing for me in life, but it's great in improv. John has very expressive eyes, so like things like that just come out on screen that you don't think about when you're on stage. Those things are there, but there's a different subtlety to it, right? We're not changing up what we're doing, but now it's like in your face, right? Literally in your face. I do think, if I can chime in for a sec, that one of the things that I've really enjoyed with the online improv, which I think is really helping with the quality of the scene work, is there's this, I don't know, 10-minute improv scene mission that's happening throughout the world. Jay Suko started it. Folks like John and Ari continue doing it. But it's giving people more time to sit in a scene and to sit in a character, to figure out the dynamics between the two characters, the relationships. People are really affecting each other more and more. And so that's been really wonderful to see, sort of that embracement of a slow paced scene, which I think sets up actors really, really well. I've had the pleasure of playing with many people that way, and it's been really fantastic. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on it. I feel like we had another question. I have to go look back. Oh, we have some more comments. Great point, John. Read the room. Elizabeth, I will join you. And 10-minute scenes are awesome from Jess. I got to do one with Jess. Jess is at Glossop Improv. If you're not checking it out, highly recommend that as well. Cool. So what else would you like to share about acting? What are some things that are challenges for you as an actor, or things that you struggle with as an improviser? Any of those things, anything that you want to share? You might be like, nope. Anything you can think of, or how it helps you in acting?
I have a struggle I can share. I'm currently struggling with is writing and producing my own content. So I love, like I said, bringing other characters and other scripts to life, but I just have such a challenge sitting down and creating my own characters, like, because my mind is firing at a million miles a second. And sometimes, like Chris, I'm thinking about shots and like, is it an over the shoulder shot? Is it a 2-person shot? Should this be a panning scene? Maybe I need more B-roll here. What's the story? And I just get caught in this never ending loop until I get just like caught up in this anxiety. And I have to just look at my script on the screen taunting me. I don't know if anyone uses Celtics, the screenwriting app. But in the bottom left corner, there's a little timer that counts how long you've been thinking and how long you've been writing. And awful, terrible. It just mocks me all day. And it's just so frustrating because I've been thinking for 123 hours and I've been writing for 6 minutes, but whatever. It's just really frustrating. So I hope that acting and improvising will break me free of this mold so that I can focus on a story. Maybe I need something to help me focus, so I can focus on a story and just finish it, because I have good ideas. I just need to get it down so that I can act it out so that people can laugh with me. I don't know.
That's like having like a fire hose. Your ideas are like a stream of water through a fire hose. Then you come and you poke holes in your hose so that nothing's really coming out the end because it's going in a million different directions.
Everywhere, man. Stop poking my hose.
You know what I do when I write is I never open and start writing. I just run the scenes in my head. I keep walking in my room and all the way, and then I completely formulate the entire thing in my head and then finish it off in one sitting. Nice. And then I put it into paper.
Chris is so disciplined. I don't know if people know this, but I actually have my degree in script writing.
No, I didn't know that.
Awesome. I went to the University of Georgia theater department. Was too wussy to get into the acting piece of it. So I was like, I'll just do screenwriting. But they sucked the life out of me because I had to write a full-length screenplay and then defend it against a panel. And so I'm like, I can't do it. I hardly ever write anymore. But then I think about it as an improviser, I'm writing all the time. So I'm just writing it instantly and creating it in my head. But there's some great tools. Not that I'm the one to talk about it, but voice recording, John, that's one thing I will tell you. Just talk to it. Talk to, turn your iPhone on or whatever kind of phone. I don't mean to promote Apple, and just like speak your words into that, and then you can there's also translation programs, but I took a workshop many years ago from Kevin McDonald, who does sketch writing, and obviously it's just shorter scripts, but improvising stuff, right? Have an idea, get a few friends, improvise it, tape it, and then transcribe it is another great way to really screenwriting.
Yeah. That's what I did. And 2 years ago, I did a pilot film, a 30-minute film for a pilot that I want to show it to producers. There are few dialogues that are supposed to be in the rural part of Tamil Nadu, which their lingo and other stuff was a little bit different for me. So what I did was, I hired, not hired, I called some of my friends who are improvisers, and I explained that this is what I want in a scene, improv. And then they did some improv, some beautiful pointers came out. I noted all down, and then I put that into my dialogues. So that's exactly what I did, what you said.
Yes, sitting in front of a screen is soul sucking, right? When you're trying to come up with something. But if you're actually out there creating, I think oftentimes that helps. So I think improvisers are phenomenal writers as well as actors. I think that kind of encompasses everything. I just finished watching this new show on Netflix called, I wrote it down, The Holiday Movies That Make Us. And it was a special on Elf, the movie Elf. And I'm a little obsessed with like Will Ferrell and Melissa McCarthy and just the genius and the commitment that they bring to characters. And we'll in this, I'm not giving anything away on the show, but John, oh, I can't think of his name, Favreau, who directed it, was like, we will do one take with the script exactly how it's written. And then I will let Will Ferrell improvise, right? And so much of his genius that you see in Elf is improvised. And so I think sometimes what an improviser can do is take those words and just expand them in a way that a screenwriter could never, because they don't understand the performance aspect and the way that an improviser and an actor gets into a character. And probably some of the greatest moments in cinematic history are not scripted. I mean, I am a humongous Robin Williams fan. I have to take a moment. Every time I say his name, it hurts my heart. But just the fact that Aladdin could not be nominated for a screenplay award because Robin Williams improvised so much of it that it therefore did not qualify as a scripted work. So that's my thoughts on some scripted stuff. So John, I feel like you're an Elf fan. You got real excited when I said that.
I love Elf. It's one of my go-to Christmas movies every year. Already seen it twice. Yeah, of course. Buddy Elf, what's your favorite color? Come on.
I think that's kind of a litmus test. Like, do you like puppies? Do you like Elf? Those are the determining factors. Like, are you a good human? Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think my husband likes Elf. Oops. He
Awkward.
likes puppies, though. We have too many.
Okay.
So good. So I have one more question, and then we'll see if the audience has any more. What's some advice that you would have for your younger self about improv and acting and performing in general? If you could go back to the beginning you and say, hey, what's some advice?
I would say stop wasting the fucking time and keep practicing. I wasted a lot of time without practicing it, and I thought, okay, I could do it. But when I got the chance, and I felt like I didn't do that what I could have done. So if at all I had practiced before, I would have done better. So I would advise me to practice more.
Practice more. Good. Awesome.
I would advise myself to get real, because I spent a lot of years, maybe even decades, if we sat down and added it up, hoping that I would wake up normal and like be like, today I want to be a manager at Target, and I have no, I really, there was a lot of pressure in my family growing up to just be normal, and I'm so not. So I spent a lot of years chasing that normal dragon, and I think I wasted some time that I could have been using honing a craft that I really loved. So I would say cut the crap. You're not gonna be even though you have kids and you're a homemaker, you're not gonna be Susie Homemaker. That's not you. You're not gonna be a secretary in an office. Just be you and dive into it headlong. Do it.
Hey man, you don't need to go get your teaching degree. Stop that. Go perform somewhere. You get on the stage. Go. Get out the classroom. Those are student loans you don't need.
I'm gonna switch mine and have John tell it to my.
John's gonna be our spokesperson. He's just gonna say.
I'm gonna go back in time and yell at.
John's advice is,
can you also
don't
ask
worry
me
about
to practice
education.
more?
Yes, John. If you'll tell Chris right now to practice more, he would like you.
Hey, go practice. Get off this call.
Yes,
Get
sir.
out of Yeah, man.
I love that we use the word normal because that word is I too was growing up and like this is the normal thing to do. You go to college and you do all of this. I was never that person, and later in life, my abnormality, that's what I'm going to call it, is starting to pay off. My dad, who lives in Kentucky, which is far away from me, he recently said to me, I've never seen you happier. And I just thought, wow, that's really interesting that was his take, because he can now watch all me doing all this stuff online, because he couldn't. I think he's seen me do like 2 improv shows in 12 years, so but now he can see it online. And so I don't know about you guys, but there's something that just is so fulfilling about performing and improvising and acting, and just, you know, the collaboration with someone else and the creation of a character that I don't get anywhere else. I was like a Target manager for 23 years. It wasn't Target, but whatever. But even in my retail career, I found performance type retailers. Like I worked for Build-A-Bear Workshop for 10 years and American Girl Doll. I was a doll hair salon manager. So if you need your doll's hair done, just let me know. This is all I do with my own hair, but I can fix your doll's hair. So yeah, I think, you know, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like I'm performing all the time. And John, I know as a teacher, you probably felt like you were performing all the time. I used to tell the people who work for me, I act like I like you. Some of you I do. You'll never know who.
You'll never know.
And stuff like that. So I think we improvise and act all the time, right? I think it's just some of us are better at it than others. Not in this room. I just meant like in life in general. So
I was going to say that to Krish because when he was talking about all the jobs he had previously, I'm like, you probably act less now as an actor than you did having a full-time job, because you had to act like a guy who doesn't hate his fucking job all day.
yeah.
Man.
And yeah, and the shift is also crazy shift. You know, you have to work in US shift, and it starts at 2 in the morning, and then it goes, and you mess up your health. It was crazy.
So the last question I have for you guys, are there any actors or teachers that you've taken classes with, improv or acting wise, that really inspire you or that you've learned a lot from, that kind of impacted your world, I guess?
Oh my God. So many. I don't want to like drone on, and I also don't want to
Do
forget,
it.
but each of them really like have contributed to the fabric of like who I am currently in performing arts. And like Jay Suko with his play nice, because I used to play not so nice, but it got cheap laughs being a dick, but like you don't want to do that. So that really helped switch that for me. I started out at UCB with, I have the hardest time pronouncing his last name, but Johnny Zvarbian. He's hilarious and he was so inspiring and amazing, and he really got the ball rolling. Mandy Butler, oh my gosh, so amazingly helpful on so many levels. Carla, holy shit, if you can take a Carla class, do it. Just do it. Like she brought out stuff in me. You brought out stuff in me acting wise that I didn't even know was there. Gosh, I'm in a class right now with Kevin McDonald. If you can take a Kevin McDonald class, do so. David Escobedo, you will never find a better cheerleader for your improv journey than David Escobedo. What like a consistent, supportive force he is.
That's how I met Elizabeth.
Yeah. I hope I'm not forgetting anybody, because seriously, I can't, there has not been one teacher who I've sat there being like, oh, I'm not getting shit from this. Like they've all, I've learned so much from everybody who I've come into contact with when it comes to improv and acting. So
Well, if you remember someone, just go type them in the comments and then they'll feel the love. Yeah, fantastic. Good.
I mean, so at the beginning of my acting journey, there was Sana Haynes, who taught me about my first improv class and my first acting class. Richard Hempton, he was my first real acting coach. And I went through Alexander technique, which really taught me how to be aware of my body and like realize different tensions I'm holding. It's how I know I always have tensions in my cheeks. So he was great. He was the first person to put me on film. So shout out to Richard. And then I came up here to Charlotte and like things were boom. So shout out AOS. Carla, your classes have been fantastic in helping me just be a better improviser. I think a better person. Alicia was fantastic in my character work, my character development, the time that we were spending for Talent Inc. and breaking down scripts. Just, I've been blessed to have some great
Ask
sorry,
yours.
some guides along this journey. It was fly. He's been bothering me like that. Sorry, some great guides along this journey. And if I remember anyone else, because I keep this little notebook that one of my fifth graders got me. So like, I knew when I got this, when I was in school, I was like, oh yeah, I gotta go. I gotta follow my heart. I gotta live my dream and be passionate. Like, and I started keeping everything. Like when I have scripts that I can't finish, they're all in here, bothering me. So I'll go through here, and if I remember any of my other acting coaches' names, I'll write them in the chat. But like, everyone has been so impactful in my life. Thank you.
Oh, Krish, how about you?
Yeah. Just like the book that John showed, the book that inspired me was the Alchemist from Paulo Coelho. So I started reading some of his books, and that's what made me follow your dreams, quit your jobs, and then you can do it. This sort of things. Uh, I had a couple of teachers when I was studying in Loyola, and after that I didn't have a particular teacher or acting coach per se. Then we as a friends, we always used to join together, do some theater stuff and acting and shows and like that. And after a long time via online, I took this improv course, and Carla, after a long time you're my teacher, and I learned a lot. It was like, it pushed me out of my boundaries and put me into difficult situations. I mean, in terms of acting, and then I learned a lot from that. And the most thing is, I believe in repetition a lot. So most of the times what I do is, when I'm driving in a car, I connect my headphones to anything, like, Friends TV series, I just connected it, and then I just repeat everything that they say in the same modulation and everything. I just keep repeating it. And even when I'm going for a long drive, I choose any Woody Allen movie, and then I connect it, and then I try to just repeat what they are saying, not trying to imitate them, but trying to understand in where the source of their emotion, of what comes from, by repeating what they're saying. So that's the major thing that I used to learn.
Krish, we have to get you into a Meisner class because it's all about repetition and acting. So I'm going to have to get you into a Meisner class. Well, great. Let me ask you guys just one last thing, and then I'll do some silly fun questions to wrap up. Is there anything that you would like to share or promote that you're working on that you'd like the audience to know? And again, we can drop links into the chat, but anything in particular that you want to promote or share?
Yeah, today at 2:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Brenna Judkins and I have our little What Even Is Time show. It's just us chatting about anything and everything, and it's entertaining in my opinion, and some other people's opinions too. So, maybe you'll enjoy it. Give it a shot.
Awesome. We'll put a link in the chat. Brenna was also in the acting class with us, so we all know her well, and I'm sure some of you in the audience do too. Cool. Anyone else?
I'm in some short form productions, and as soon as I am allowed to say that they're coming out, man, they are. I'm gonna drop them in this chat.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
I can't say anything about it yet.
So, and John, you have an improv show coming up on the 16th of December as well.
I do have an improv show coming up. Thanks. I forgot to share it.
Yeah, we'll put that in the chat as well. So cool. Krish, how about you?
Probably next month I'll probably have something to promote, but right now I don't have anything to promote on anything.
It's the acting world too, right? Like you can't talk about things until you can talk about things, right? It's very secretive sometimes, especially when you get agents and directors and publicists and all that stuff involved. So cool. Well, I always like to end the show. Well, first of all, thank you guys, with some silly questions so that the audience can get to know you better. Oh, before I do, John, there's a comment that you should teach improv workshops for teachers. That's in the chat. You should keep that in mind. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. Fantastic. I do that quite a bit. So if you need some help, I can show you the way. So yeah, so here's some silly questions to finish up. Do you have a favorite food?
Bojangles.
Explain to the rest of the world what Bojangles is, because I feel like it's very regional.
So Bojangles is famous chicken and biscuits, right? Now, now it just sounds like chicken and biscuits, but it's not just chicken and biscuits. They're homemade biscuits, and I get the chicken supremes. Oh my gosh, they are so crispy, and they got a little bit of kick to them.
The biscuits are like this big. They're
Oh, and they so buttery, and they so fresh. They're so fresh, and you smell them, and they crispy. And I'm about to go give me some Bojangles talking about this.
Awesome. Who else? Favorite food?
My favorite,
You go.
Yeah.
You go.
my favorite food is biryani. Have you guys heard about it?
No.
No?
Tell us
Okay.
more.
It's rice and some spices and whatever meat that you want to have, like chicken or mutton. Chicken biryani is there, mutton biryani is there, and served with some eggs. And one portion of biryani will be like this much. And in olden days, people used to have, but nowadays no one can have one full biryani, so it's always sold in half. So that's famous. Hyderabad is famous for biryani, Hyderabadi biryani.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh, yummy.
So my favorite foods, I don't really allow myself to eat much of because they're just so good and so not good for me. But I will say, in LA, there's kind of this Hatfield and McCoy feud between Philippe's and Cole's, and they both say they are the originators of the French dip. But it's not Philippe's, it's Cole's. So if you're ever in LA, go to Cole's, and it doesn't actually matter about the sandwich because the best thing are their sweet potato garlic fries. And it sounds weird, but they're so good. Okay, have you ever had a cold French fry? It's disgusting, right? Once they're past their, out of the oven temperature, they're garbage. Not these ones. You could literally find one 3 days old lying in the street and pick it up and it would be delicious. And you'd be like, oh, it's the best fry I've ever had. I mean, I've not done that, but
Yeah, we believe you.
Those really
Oh, that sounds
specific
really
details.
personal.
Really specific details there for not having done it.
my son had it sitting out like for hours cold. And I did. I'm like, they still smell good. And so I took a bite and that was off the table. But I'm assuming, you extrapolate that data and change the location, it would probably be just as good.
Probably similar. Oh, that sounds good.
One of our viewers, Chris, said that they love the Hyderabad. I'm going to say it wrong. Biryani. They eat it all the time. They're in the UK, which has fantastic Indian food. I hear. There's an Indian restaurant across from our studio. That's the extent of me knowing much.
You should try a biryani.
I'm gonna do it. My favorite food would be pasta. Just pasta. There's something about like just pasta. I
Do you have
don't
a favorite
know.
noodle?
What?
Do you have a favorite pasta noodle, like angel hair pasta?
I like rigatoni, but I will eat any pasta. I don't really care. It's just pasta. Anything from like orzo to risotto to like. My husband only eats angel hair pasta. I'm like, what? It's so like, what's the point of it? It's not even pasta.
So I heard that once you become an adult, there's always a type of pasta that you inexplicably hate for no reason. Mine happens to be angel hair. I hate angel hair pasta.
It just seems pointless. Like it's so little. What's the point? Pasta's supposed to be heavy and like, yeah. Anyway, I could go on forever about pasta. Great. What's your favorite movie?
Just one.
Well, one or two. That's fine.
I can't do just one. My favorite, the Exorcist, the Spell, Princess and the Frog, and Cinderella.
Just the arc of those is so great. The Exorcist to Cinderella. All right, great. Who else?
My favorite movie would be Big Fish. Hope you
Oh.
have seen it. And Midnight in Paris. And I have a couple of more, but these two are Big Fish is amazing.
Another Big Fish story. One of the little kid actors from the studio I'm at is in that movie. I can't tell you any of their names, but these kids get around, let me tell you. John.
I have a lot of favorite movies, but I love comedies. So 3 off the top of my head: Coming to America, Friday After Next, next Friday after next, because it's the Christmas month. Elf. I love Elf. We just finished watching the Rugrats movie. They have a great soundtrack. You know, don't do that. I have a lot of movies, but those are some that popped on to the top of my head.
Great.
Next Friday's great. You
Yeah.
don't like Friday?
No, I didn't like Next Friday. I said it's not one of my favorites.
Fair enough.
We're gonna get into a debate. I feel like I've had this debate at my house, but we won't go there. One of my favorite movies is classic Rebel Without a Cause. Is one of my favorite movies. Also Bridesmaids, because whoa, women taking control and being fantastic. Favorite actor or actress?
My favorite, and this is why I geek out and I'm like riveted every time you share this story, is Vincent D'Onofrio. I love him, and from a very early age, people, you know, they're like, I love Brad Pitt. I love, what's his name? The
Tom Cruise.
Chatham, whatever the fuck.
Oh, Channing Tatum. Yeah.
Does nothing for me. Vincent D'Onofrio. Oh.
His performance in Full Metal Jacket is like the standard that people should be held to as actors. And if you haven't seen it, you should go watch Full Metal Jacket. Vietnam film. His performance is anyway. All right, who else? Favorite actor?
I love Shameik Moore. It was his
too, but probably for a different reason.
Yeah. Well, maybe not. I love. So, oh gosh, what's her name? She was, so in Bridesmaids, she was the bride.
Maya Rudolph.
Maya Rudolph. She was in The Good Place as the judge. Yo, I love Maya Rudolph so much. She is so fantastic. Kamala Harris, she's hilarious. There's a long list of others, but whenever you ask me my favorite actors or actresses, I suddenly don't know anyone. So
yeah, it's so funny. Chris, how about you?
So, just like John said, I have lots of actors, and one of my most favorite actors is Al Pacino. So I tried to imitate him. I mean, I tried to learn from him a lot, and I started speaking like him. Other scenes also, I started speaking like him. You don't know, like that. I started exaggerating the words, and my wife was like, "What are you doing? This does not even suit the character. What are you doing?" Then I have to, oh my God, okay, I started doing like him. Okay, I came out of it. So he's my favorite actor.
Two of my favorites are Melissa McCarthy, who I mention all the time, but also Olivia Colman. If you don't know who she is, she's currently Queen Elizabeth on The Crown, but she is just a phenomenal character actor. And I'll never be like an ingenue, I can't even say it, ingenue, or a lead actor. So I always gravitate towards fantastic character actors. All right, my last question, and we'll get out of here. Favorite guilty pleasure? Ooh.
Bojangles.
John is hanging up this call and going to listen to Bojangles. John, we're gonna put the link for Bojangles in here so people can see it. I will. All right. Anyone else favorite guilty pleasure?
Yeah.
For me,
go ahead.
Yeah. For me, it's all about being lazy. Anytime I'm being lazy, I'm always having this guilty feeling. Oh, you're not doing nothing. You're not doing. Yeah, let's not do nothing and let's enjoy this guilty feeling. So that's the thing. And I don't do anything that makes me guilty. You know, I just not doing anything is what makes me guilty.
That's fair. That's fair.
So I have always tended to gravitate towards serious things, and if things didn't have like this huge, deep, esoteric meaning, I rejected them wholly. And my best friend in high school would listen to dog shit for music, just awful, stupid music. And I was like, what is this crap? And she's like, music can just be fun. It doesn't always have to mean something. So she taught me to embrace, well, crappy, meaningless music. And so that's my guilty pleasure, like some really lame pop. Like if I'm home alone, sometimes I'll put on like Amy Grant or like Tiffany and Debbie Gibson. Ooh, and dance around. And yeah, that's my guilty pleasure.
Mine are naps and bubble baths, in case you're wondering. As we wrap up, first of all, thanks everyone for watching. We have two great comments. One from the Improv Boost that says, shout out to Elizabeth. We know it's you, David Escobedo. And then Jess from the UK said, this show was sponsored by Bojangles. If only we had a sponsor. So maybe We'll put the word out there. Drop it in the universe. Bojangles sponsor us. But thank you guys. Thank you to Elizabeth and to John and to Chris for sharing some of your insights and your time. Everybody wave. I'm going to stop this live stream and we'll see you on the next one on December 21st. We'll have some medical improvisers on, a whole different perspective.
Medical improviser.
Yeah.
Are they like medical professionals that improv?
Yeah.
I bet they're funny. They have great senses of humor.
So
Yeah.
you might have met one of them, Dr. Wes